Hi, welcome to Political Muscle. I'm Paul Maverick, and we are here at the Cal State University Northridge campus for an event called Survive the Night. Simulated homelessness, to sort of walk a mile in another person's moccasins.
What's your first name, please?
Paul? Absolutely no alcohol, drugs, or cigarettes, which I would think would be a big part of my life if I was a homeless guy.
One of our friends told us about, like, oh, there's a Survive the Night thing going on, like, you spend the night on campus as, like, a homeless person, so we really like that whole, like, role-playing idea.
I think we'll appreciate our lives more once this is over.
Crowd's filling in a little bit. What do you think? We got 100 people here, maybe 150?
When you leave tomorrow morning and you've survived the night, you'll realize that we can't allow any other human being to live this challenge on a daily basis.
Get a good box.
Where are the good boxes? Yeah, it looks like the best 3D home building materials have been grabbed already. It's a little bit like the Great Depression where they would wear a barrel with suspenders on, right? We're kind of going for sort of a parquet floor, sort of an inlaid pattern. The grass is going to get wet. In fact, it's already starting to get a little damp, and I think that's probably the element that's most against us.
Session 6 has now begun. Go. You can do it. What are the other cliches? Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. If there's a will, there's a way.
Remember not to crowd at the end. Get your money early. Don't be greedy.
So you took part in the simulation.
I was homeless, mentally ill. I had to get food, shelter, and medical care. The shelter only had enough food for certain people. I was the last one, and they didn't have any shelter. So when I got my medical care and I went to get the food, that was it. I was dead after the next day.
Have we lost one? We have a casualty?
If you so choose to eat, you will have to get a bottle or can to redeem. Now, where you get those bottles and cans, they do come from trash cans.
I touched my face.
Just went through the food line. We've got a vegetable barley soup here and some rolls and slices of bread. And I gotta tell you, I had the good fortune a couple of times to serve folks at the Union Rescue Mission in downtown Los Angeles. And being on the opposite side of that line, I know it's a simulation, but I felt something there. And part of what I felt was a little bit of guilt for being homeless.
It helps you imagine what it would really be like if you had to wait in an actual line, which is probably way longer for the same type of food or maybe worse.
I gotta tell you, it didn't take long for this to become very much like a real homeless encampment. We have a city here.
Yeah, it's like a city walk.
Yeah, City Walk. The cardboard City Walk.
We've hopefully led you through this experience to a place now where you can actually hear some real life stories.
The longest that I've ever been homeless is 14 months. And I spent most of that time beneath the west end of the Beverly Bridge, downtown Los Angeles. About 200 yards away from me, there was a 80-year-old gentleman named James who'd been on the streets for 50 years.
The reality of it was there was a lot of people out there that could hurt me and would hurt me and that would steal from me, and it became frightening rather quickly.
It's really dangerous out there. My brother almost got beaten to death for his SSI check.
The entire day was spent going from one dumpster to the next. And to make that a little more interesting, I had a 90-pound Doberman with me, who was always hungry.
At the beginning I thought that we were helping him. Then I realized he is helping us. He's helping us to live a better life, to appreciate things we have, which we take sometimes for granted.
Homelessness is really not an event, it's really a process. Like we talk about, recovery is really a process.
And if you become politically active, you can make a real difference.
Do you think you could live like this for 50 years? Honestly?
Most people can't imagine like a week.
Exactly.
Some people can't even imagine a day.
A day.
Much
I
less.
know a lot of, like my roommate, I asked her, you want to do this? Oh, well, look, I can do the thing in the morning, but spending the night outside, no, that's not for me.
If we're going to get rid of poverty, we need to get rid of capitalism first.
It's a question of morals, sort of, and
in reality, is it really ever okay for someone to be homeless? And we were saying that it's not. It's our responsibility to help people that are under.
But what happens when we have high levels of poverty? When people are out of work, when they're homeless? Crime, all sorts of, the social fabric deteriorates.
We're just trying to be warm. That was the main goal.
Is it succeeding? Because you're huddled up pretty nicely.
Yeah, I'd say so. The sense of community is strong.
Getting ready to bunk down. It's almost 1:30, and a fine layer of dew has settled on our bags, which I suppose we should have foreseen. People have had an unsettling thought exercise. Yeah, I think it's gotten under our skin. With a thin layer of dampness that will be with us a long, long time. It's now about 5:30 in the morning. I've just got that not-so-fresh feeling that this tent, which is toasty warm inside, has about 30 people sleeping, huddled up as closely as possible around the other side of this tent flap where it's warmest. So many of us have given up, thrown in the towel, and gone home and could not survive the night. I guess that's why the event is called Survive the Night. I figured, yeah, we'd all be able to make it. But judging by the amount of empty cardboard out there, no. And you see that majestic flag flapping in the wind, and you think, justice for all? Are we even close? Is it a sick, twisted joke? Foreclosures are galloping and accelerating at least through 2010, and I've heard as far as 2011. So we're going to see more tent cities and more homeless villages and more nights spent out sleeping on cardboard. It's a play for us, but it's real for them. And yet our flag flies high, and our national myth goes on. Did you actually get to sleep?
For like an hour and a half, but didn't work.
Freezing. Feel like shit. Yes.
Now it makes me really sit down and think oh, this is a learning experience. Maybe I can do something to fix this.
Sometimes people need to learn better from doing and experiencing versus just being told.
I see people in there sleeping.
That's right. Finding shelter any way they can, like an individual would.
I was really shocked at how many people really thought that, homelessness just comes from being lazy. Something changed. Something was sparked last night that changed the thinking process.
We need to help them out.
It's unfair to be living outside. And
especially with the 2 wars coming back, people coming back, there'll be a lot of problems.
I'm struggling, but I survived.
Yeah, how'd it feel?
Horrible. It was miserable. I was.
Good morning, homeless city.
If we can get you guys to please put the boxes all the way in the corner.
I definitely look at them differently, in a different perspective. I give them respect for what they do.
It's hard to put yourself in the shoes when someone has to do this every night.
Tired, and I guess I lost a glove.
I think I got maybe 20 minutes of sleep last night. It was really cold.
That was probably the worst sleep I've ever gotten in my life. I was in between this gentleman and this young lady. And in one extent, I didn't want to spoon with him. And the other extent, I didn't want to spoon with her because I don't know her either. But
I could see why people would use drugs and alcohol probably to numb themselves.
Yeah, I just can't imagine people not having the option to, avoid hypothermia.
More people should probably do it. Maybe then they can step out of the comfort zone.
I was thinking I'm gonna die, seriously, it was so cold.
Time went very, very slow. So the combination of slow time and very cold weather.
Last night, I didn't bring a blanket and I was like, I'm gonna rough it out. My lungs got so cold that I couldn't breathe last night. And then my friends actually shared their blanket with me and they brought me in here because I had such a hard time breathing.
The next step is for us all to get out there and to volunteer, whether it's at your soup kitchen or whether it's at a homeless shelter, to agitate politically, because there is no need for people in America to live under these kinds of conditions. Get out there, get active, and flex your political muscle.